Welcome to Memphis Monday 135, fixing a folding camping table. The story is my buddy has this folding camping table with steel legs. He kind of likes the tabletop because it's waterproof and plastic and floats and all that. So he likes the top, but the legs and the structure on the inside is all broken. And he kind of likes my design for a folding camping table with the locking legs. So he asked me if maybe I could take a look at this and see if I could rig something like that on this thing. I haven't fiddled with it yet, so let's knock off the chit-chat and put it up on the workbench and kind of figure out what's wrong with it and how we can fix it. I set it up to get a feel for what it's like, and first of all, it's way too low for a camping table. It should be up around 38 inches. And the legs are different height. Let's throw it up on the workbench and take a look at it. Looks like, first thing, a little brackets have come unwelded. Another thing, this bracket is about 90 degrees out of phase here. This flat part right here is supposed to go against the table, and down in there, that weld is supposed to be up here. Let me show you on a good one. There's a good one on the other side. Let's see if we can flip this thing around where it's oriented right. So this thing has a little spring-loaded thing in it. You lift this up, and then this thing swivels around in a perfect world. Okay, I flipped those brackets around. Now the legs sit okay. I hate to fix something that isn't broken. As I said, what happened here is these welds broke loose. This bracket is connected to this back metal piece here by a couple of tack welds, one on either side. But I don't think that's strong enough. I don't have a welder, but even if that was welded, it doesn't seem strong enough to me. So what I did is I put a bolt down through the bracket, comes out on top of the table. Let's oil this thing up and see if it works. Since this thing's all metal, one of the things you got to watch out for is friction. So I'm going to oil it up. Okay, let's hit that oil. I see how it got broke because I did the same thing. Okay, there it is in locked position. Now, when you're in this position, if you try to hit this thing down over here, if you try to push this thing closed without lifting up on this little latch, it's going to lift that whole bracket up. See the bracket move? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another hole through the tabletop right down through there to balance out the supports. Here's a little bolt I'm going to try to thread up through there. And I got this lock nut here. Okay, let's open it up. Okay, got to remember, take out this little bracket. Okay, I got the bracket secured here. Let's lift it up. See if it works. Well, there it is. The legs are all the same length. I reattached those brackets. Now what do I do? Well, I thought about it a little bit. I don't feel right about fixing something that's not broken, so I'm not going to fix this. Instead, I figured maybe this guy just wants him a Molly Dolly table, so I'll just make him one. And maybe I'll make it a little bit taller. So the plan, if you haven't figured it out, is just to leave that other table alone and build a whole new table. I'm cutting out the stock for the legs now. This is a little drawing of, there'll be a frame, rectangular frame that's about 4 feet long, 2 feet wide. Then the legs will pivot and be collapsible through that frame. But instead of putting plywood on top of it, we will put cedar boards across there. I'm putting the frame together with these 1.25 inch coated deck screws. Putting a very slight taper on these legs, and only in one direction. Got the legs mocked up here in a closed position. I'm going to put a cross brace on each of the sets of legs, and to do that I need to put a dado Sometimes it's easier to just do these things, these dados, in a bandsaw and use a chisel. By the time you set up that dado blade and then test it and tweak it and measure it and everything else, you can knock these things. You can knock these things out with a chisel and a saw, you know, and it does just as good. The legs will be rotated into place on that frame, so each one of these legs need a little radius. What I did is just nipped off the corners with saw, and now I'm just going to creep up to that line all the way around. I got the legs smoothed out. I I'll be using these little carriage bolts for the legs to rotate on. I made this little jig to correctly position the holes. And before I make holes in all the legs and all the sides, I'm going to freehand a hole through here. See if this leg works. A tight fit. Well, that seems to work. I can adjust this angle, get it where I want it. And I need to know that information because I'll be putting a backer plate on here, and I need to know exactly where to position it. I got the rake of the legs just about the way I want it. Now what I need to do is put a board in here for these legs to lean against. Not only will it support the backward lean of these legs, but it'll also stiffen the frame. Okay, I got those legs attached and that back plate. Now how I keep those legs sprung back is by putting this little angled piece of oak right here. Let me show you a close-up of how it works. So by putting this oak in here at an angle like this, to get the leg down, all I got to do is spring it back and then push the leg back. Okay, here's the piece of oak. See how it angles back to that leg? And then when I come around to this side, it angles the other way. Now it's important to note that in the up position and the down position, this piece of oak is under no tension at all. It's just a straight piece of wood. The only time it's bent is when you push it out to let that leg out of the way. See, I'm being real careful to drill that because I'm putting these real long screws in. So there's our folding frame all folded down. And I want to lift it up. Let's bring it up and you'll hear it click. These little Okay, I got the boards all knocked up here. Now what I need to do is this stock for my top is sized at 7/8, and I'm going to take it down to a 1/2 inch. So I'll do that on my thickness planer. Well, there's our top. I sized it down to about 9/16. I think it not only does it make the project lighter, but visually it keeps the project from looking too heavy and cumbersome. Before we put that top on, let's take the whole project apart down to parade rest and put some stain on it. I got the table almost totally taken apart. How I'm going to line the table up on these boards is to lay the boards out and then flip the table over on top of it. I'm going to attach the top with pocket screws, and so I'm marking the pocket screws all around the frame right now. And now I'll take the frame apart and put those pocket screws in. I said pocket screws, but of course what I mean is pocket holes. I'm putting pocket holes in the side rails, and then I'll be using coated deck screws to actually hold the top to the frame. Well, here's our whole table reduced to a pile of rubble. It's one of those things that's tough to do, but you're glad you did it at the end. I'll be finishing these parts with this stuff called woodland oil. The color of it is, they call it mountain cedar. They advertise it as a stain and a sealant. I won't be using any poly or spar varnish or any other finish, just this oil. I don't want it to be real dark, so I'm just wiping it on with a rag. Well, there's the top. And over here is the frame. So I guess we can start doing some assembly. I said this table is 100% cedar, and that's not strictly true. These braces here that hold the legs up, they are 3/4 inch exterior plywood. Here I'm attaching the top to the frame. This will put all these fasteners out of the weather. It'll make the frame very rigid, and also there'd be no fastener showing on the front side. Well, almost drum roll time. All I'm doing here is just tightening up the bolts on the legs. We already did all the work. And I guess next step is, or last step, is to put our little stoppers in there. Here you can see by taking it apart, we got everything is crisp. There's no stains stuck in corners or anything. Just looks like a lot more professional job. Well, on top there is the table we decided we didn't need to fix. It wasn't broke enough to fix. And there's the table we just built. Pretty much all cedar and no exposed fasteners, no glue, no plywood, no staples. Whole thing is put together with cedar and deck screws. That about does it for Memphis Monday 135, fixing a folding table. Kind of interesting. We started to fix this table and discovered that It just had a couple of minor things wrong with it, so we decided not to fix it. And instead, we just built another camping table, and I'll give this to my buddy, and I'll give him his old table back. So 2 for the price of 1. Can't hardly beat that. All right, so then we got some takeaways there. Table came out real nice, and can't think of anything else. Oh yeah, make sure you like and favorite and share and Facebook and tweet and Twitter and comment and all the stuff you do on the internet. But most important, make sure you're back here next week for another exciting Memphis Monday. Thanks for playing along.